I'm going to give you a real-life story. In Galveston County, we had a person who wanted to come in and vote. They had voted 5 times in previous elections, both local as well as state and federal. And it turns out he was not registered at the 6th time. And when we did some investigating, we found out that he had gone to a jury selection, and he had told people he was not a citizen. So when we did some checking, we found out that this non-citizen had actually voted 5 times. So in answer to the gentleman's point he made a little while back, there are non-citizens voting in this state. And so we definitely need to make sure that that's in the Constitution. I highly recommend it, and I would like to have your amendment on the ballot in November.
Introduce yourself and give us your testimony.
I'm Bill Sargent, former Chief Deputy Clerk for Elections in Galveston County. I'm testifying in support of your legislation. I fully support this legislation and encourage adoption. What I like are that it has teeth in it. This bill makes it a jail felony to knowingly register a person who is not a U.S. citizen. I also like the fact that district attorneys who don't act, if they don't act within 180 days, that means the Attorney General can act, which I also like. And I support the idea of what you want to try to do under sections 115.002 through 004. And I can go into more detail in the colloquy later if you want to about what that does. But the bottom line is that it appears that what's happening is if a person comes in who has not shown proof of citizenship, that you're allowing them to vote a federal ballot, but you're giving them a complete ballot to vote. And then you're holding that aside for to determine whether they actually show up within 6 days to show that they're a U.S. citizen. The problem with that is that if the person does not show up in 6 days, you have a ballot that has federal votes on it as well as the state and local votes on it. So you have a situation here where if you're going to count that, then you got to duplicate that ballot. That means that every single one of those ballots has to be duplicated so that only the congressional races are counted, not the other. And that's an issue. I'll go. I'm short on time here, so we can go into more detail on that. I have a solution for you if you're interested. One of the previous witnesses said that you were making a mountain out of a molehill. I would suggest it's not a mountain out of a molehill. It's the tip of an iceberg. You're seeing the tip. You're not seeing what's below. The only way in Galveston County that we found out that people were voting who are not citizens is because we felt like we came across it. We just stumbled across it. You check a box. You're a U.S. citizen, and they let you vote. I'll continue more during the colloquy later if you want.
And thank you. Let me ask, while we're on the topic, you were talking about that situation where someone does not have proof of citizenship, so they're given a full ballot to vote, but it's not counted, and then they have 6 days to come back. My understanding of the process would be if within 6 days they did not return, then those non-federal races would be struck, and then the ballot would be counted. Is that just like if I change counties, within the 30-day window, and I didn't get registered in my new county, okay, I'm not going to get to vote on those local races, but I vote on the state stuff. Wouldn't it work like that?
Well, the way it sounds like it works is that the person votes the entire ballot, and then only the federal ones count. That means when you actually get down to the nitty-gritty of it, when you're in the counting room, you can't count that ballot because it's going to scan, and you're going to scan every single vote they did, which means you got to then go back and you have to duplicate that ballot so that you're only voting the 2 races that they're allowed to vote on. The alternative to that is to do similar to what we do with provisional ballots and with people who don't have a photo ID. What you should do then at that point is to say, okay, we're gonna have you vote a regular ballot for the federal election, and have them vote a provisional ballot for the state and local. That way, it's clean. You don't have to duplicate anything, and if the person shows up and they cure their ballot, that ballot counts. Now, if you have a political problem with it, calling it a provisional ballot, because some people may say, well, provisionals don't count, you can call it something else. You can put it in a separate envelope if you want. But handle it like you handle provisionals. That way you get around that problem.
Thank you. That's helpful.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.